Hey friends, Peggy Hall back with you with more of my Maui fire coverage. I just saw a headline here in the Civil Beat, which is actually a very progressive newspaper here. And let me cue that up for you. That is, here we go. Let me share my screen and I will share with you these shocking headlines that Hawaii replaces Maui and Kauai Ambulance Company with one that has a questionable record. I titled this video, New World Disorder Ambulance Company, now on Maui. New World Disorder is the phrase that I use for the bad guys, the puppet masters, the evil doers, those that want to have one world government and control your life without you having elected them or having any say in what you want your life and your world to be. So look at this. I'm going to do a little bit of a deep dive into this ambulance company. This is just breaking news. Weeks after devastating wildfires killed at least 155 people and destroyed Lahaina, the Hawaii Department of Health has awarded a $58.9 million multi-year contract for the island's ambulance services to a Danish company. Why can't they have an American company that's been under scrutiny for failing to provide adequate service in San Diego and the San Francisco Bay Area? Under the contract, the multinational firm FALC, which sounds like FLAC, will replace Maui's longtime provider, American Medical Response. FALC will also take over ambulance service on Kauai under a separate multi-year contract worth $32.1 million. Contracts for both islands begin in late December and run through June 2027. So here we go. This was the American Medical Response that apparently was on the island during this intentional disaster. So I'm very curious, before I show you the deep dive into FALC, I'm very curious because why are they getting rid of this American, ambulance company? Did they know something? Were they going to be whistleblowers? Did they not want to play along? Did they know too much? Did they know too little? These are the kind of questions that my mind comes up with when I see things like this. And wait until I show you about a little bit more about this company and why I call it that it's part of the New World Disorder. So let me share my screen, and here it is, public knowledge. We are right over here, and this is their PDF 2022 annual report. Right away, I see somebody wearing a bicycle helmet with a messenger bag, pushing the idea of the Green New Deal, where everybody's going to be on bicycles. So are they trying to tell me that this ambulance company is going to come rescue people on a bike? Why would they be featuring a bicycle? Let's go on. Here are all the key words. Sustainable, right? We're going to hear the words inclusive and resilient. Advance sustainable healthcare to meet people's changing needs. This is their purpose. And then you can go, here's the sustainability, reducing the carbon footprint. Of course, there's the little symbolism of the roundabout, which is another of their New World Disorder symbols. And here we go. FALC Ambulance US operates mainly in California. Well, they just had their contract canceled with the city of San Diego because they did not have the right response time. Let's go a little bit more into their New World Disorder connections, shall we? So is this like the ambulance that they're going to send? Reducing the climate impact? Oh, I'm sorry. We've had too many rescues and we can no longer show up there. Let me see what I found in California here. It was quite interesting because in San Diego, they had reduced response time. And so that's why San Diego is getting rid of their contract. And I'm not able to find that right at this moment. I'm getting blocked actually with my internet search. So let me show you this, how I know this is a New World Disorder company. So I'm going to share my screen again, and we will hop right on over here. And this is the United Nations Global Compact. So whenever I think of the New World Disorder, I think of the United Nations and how they want to really be the one world government and enforce these policies and restrictions on countries that are a part of the United Nations, like the United States. So here it is, company FALC. It is a Danish company. It's privately held. And they have been a participant in this United Nations Global Compact since 2019. What does that mean? All right. To be in the United Nations Global Compact, you have to operate in alignment with the universal sustainability principles. And you also have to pay to be a part of this global compact. You do an application, and then there is an annual contribution calendar where they're going to determine how much you're going to pay. So in order to do so, here are the universal sustainability principles that these companies have to abide by: human rights, labor, environment, and anti-corruption. Now, don't you think every company should abide by that, whether or not you are a part of this global compact? I found that that was very strange. So let me know what you think in a comment. Why did the state of Hawaii cancel its long-time ambulance contract with an American company and bring in a Danish company that has a very controversial track record? It's actually having contracts being canceled with the County of San Diego and the City of San Diego because their response times were lagging. So I find it very strange, right on the heels of this disaster, that they would switch ambulance companies. It's another one of those things that makes me go, things just aren't adding up. Friends, I have an entire notebook filled with my videos that I am planning for you. I know I've got a virtual screen here behind me, and I've got pages and pages of information that I want to dig into. We're going to be talking about disaster by the numbers and disaster by the colors. All of these disasters have color codes associated with them. I've been doing some digging on Ebola. That's when it first came to my mind several years ago, when I saw everything was the same color on the news, on the logos. The virus was a certain color. And then, of course, Zika had its own color coding, and malaria had its own color coding. Of course, cooties had its own color coding. And a lot of these disasters and these orchestrated events have their own color codes as well. To me, I believe that they're doing that because then people in the know will be able to notice that. And these evildoers love their signs and symbols. It's a way of mocking us, of being so blatant and so, like, the acting is so bad. And then when they get away with it, they are even more gleeful because they know that people, they were able to snooker the people. All right, we're going to talk about the numbers. As I said, we are going to be talking about how the county of Maui, I think I'll bring this video for you tomorrow, how the county of Maui already had in place their own county agenda 2030. And they already had planned in Lahaina town, as it's called, right in that little downtown area. It was called a transportation corridor. And it's already plotted out, and it's the exact area where it burned. So I'm going to be bringing you those maps. I'm going to be showing you the county plans, and they are not hiding it. They have on their website, Maui Planning 2030, which goes right in lockstep with Agenda 2030. If you're new to the New World Disorder and what that means, it is basically those in power that want to strip you of your rights. And they did, and they have been doing a lot of test runs over the many years. So many of these events that people think were legitimate, when you dig a little deeper, you'll find out that things just don't add up. And I'm talking about recent events. I'm talking about mainly all of those mass bang bang events. When you dig deeper, it doesn't add up. Where were the bodies? Where are the victims? Why were they joking? Why did they have the duper's delight? Why did these people look like they were coached on their answers? And so many things don't add up. When there is a hidden agenda, as I call it, and I did a couple of videos about Governor Cuomo, the ex-Governor Cuomo, and hopefully the soon-to-be ex-Josh Green do deal, how they suddenly happened to be on the scene to cut people out of these accidents. And they were just pulling them out of overturned vehicles without having any stabilization of the neck or any stretcher or any of the EMT doing it, like the governor's pulling the person out of the car. You know, that doesn't add up. But when people catch that on the news, and probably some of your loved ones that are riveted to the news, they're going to see that and their emotion takes over and they don't think critically, which is why you need to watch these news reports with the sound off. You need to watch it in slow motion. Then you need to listen to it without looking at the images. And you need to look at it over a period of time after the emotions have subsided. And that's when you can start to see things more clearly. Look back at some of these events over the last year or so in well-known cities where the hidden agenda was to steal your banks because they don't want to have an armed populace. When you dig deeper and you read beneath the headlines and you look at these things that don't add up. All right, we are coming right on up onto the anniversary of 9/11. You need to look at that with a critical view. Now, many of you have been onto it since day one. You saw a lot of things that don't add up, like planes would not have their wings sheared off going into a building, but the building would crumble, and many other things that didn't add up. You need to look at that more deeply. These things are intended to be so overwhelming, to hijack your rational thinking mind and to usurp your emotional center. And they mainly do that on a grand scale, which is so unthinkable that it's difficult to even take it all in. And you get conflicting information is another way that, for me, that I know that it's a bunch of hogwash or orchestrated. Maybe there might have been something, but they really blew it out of proportion. When there's a lot of controversy, when there's a lot of conflicting information, when they say there were two, no, there were three, no, there was only one. And you're like, okay, this is intended to confuse individuals so that the thinking mind is not operating rationally. So think about all of that. And I know that I've got my savvy and sophisticated healthy Americans that are on to a lot of this. And let me know in a comment what it is you would like to see more coverage on. I have got at least a dozen, maybe 24 more videos on information about MAUI. And I know I've been switching my coverage to MAUI over the last 3 weeks. Exactly today is 3 weeks after that happened, because it is a microcosm of what is going on in our world. And I believe that they overplayed their hand. I'll be doing a video for you on that as well, with evidence for people that are speaking out that might normally not have spoken out in the past. But now that it is so blatant, they're not even hiding it. They've got this finish line and this deadline that they are trying to force everything through. And the fact is, friends, evil will self-destruct. It carries within itself its own seeds of destruction. So we have that going for us. The reason I'm bringing you these videos is to expose the evildoers, because evil thrives in darkness. You can help me by exposing this to light, by sharing this video, making sure that you've subscribed, that you added a comment, because that helps with the algorithm, and also mentioning my channel on other channels and in your social media feeds. That helps a lot. Please join me on my Instagram channel, my free Substack, and also the newsletter, so that I can keep you up to date on what's coming next. Thanks, everybody, and I look forward to seeing you in an upcoming broadcast. Big shout out to the moderators that keep this stream flowing.